Hello everyone and welcome to Hot Cars, and you join me today in the 2021 Audi Q7 that has been graciously lent out to me by Calgary's Glenmore Audi. This vehicle is one of the staples of Audi's lineup. Audi was really one of the first premium brands to bring out a three-row mid-size family SUV. And throughout time, it's just become more premium, more features rich, and it just has so many great things going for it. For 2020, this Audi Q7 did receive a midlife refresh, which brought it up to speed with a lot of the other Audi flagships, and that includes the dual screen infotainment and climate control system, a bit of a redesigned face with new headlights, a new grille design, and out back a little more revision as well with different tail lights. The model I'm testing out is the top trim, so we have so many wonderful options and features built into this vehicle, which I'll get to later. But really, being in this vehicle for the amount of time that I have, the words that come to my mind are just effortless luxury. This car is just so easy to live with and has so many amazing features built in that there's no wonder why people pay the amount of money to get into this vehicle. It's no wonder it is desirable. It has everything you should look for in this kind of vehicle. We'll start off talking about the driving experience, because with this Q7, when it was updated in 2020, the 3-litre turbocharged V6 came with the 48-volt mild hybrid system. It's a technology that even I'll admit is a little bit difficult to wrap your head around, and a lot of consumers won't particularly care for what this new 48-volt system can do. But I'll tell you the best thing about it, and the thing that people really will notice most, is that it's almost like a next generation of stop-start engine technology. We've experienced this in how many other cars in the past. We know how this system works, but with this 48-volt system, the electric motor is able to help you get off of the line a little bit quicker, and you don't have to necessarily wait for the engine to reignite to propel you off of the line. Same story as when you're coming to a stop. If I were to take off the cruise control now and there was a red light in front of me, when you get to speeds at about 10 kilometers an hour, the engine will shut off because the computer is predicting that you are coming to a complete stop, and it's unlikely that you're going to need the motor ready to go. But the great thing is that if you were in a circumstance where you were coming to a rolling stop, the engine was off, pinning the throttle starts up faster and a lot smoother than, like I said, the normal stop-start engine technology that we're used to. The 48-volt system is labeled as a mild hybrid system, and with this you do have regenerative brakes, and they're a very mild application of them. You aren't going to have the same regenerative forces and saving fuel that you do in a real hybrid or a plug-in hybrid, but you do notice they're there. Every once in a while it does feel as though you're not applying as much force as you'd like for the amount of distance your foot had to travel on the brake pedal. The Audi Q7 I'm driving has the air suspension system, which you can control the height with the drive select, and also separately from that. In comfort mode, that's its lowest setting, and then if you go to off-road mode, it raises the Q7 quite high off of the road to, of course, assist with ground clearance. All of the B-roll footage that you're seeing right now is with this car in its lowest mode, but the rear end of the Q7 can go even lower with some buttons in the boot space to help if you are ever in the situation of loading very heavy items into the back of it. That can help you out a bit, but we'll talk about that later on in the video when I address the practicality of this Q7. The ride with this air suspension is almost faultless. I can just tell with the 21-inch rims that a little bit of the road imperfections are finding their way into the cabin. Not like I'm jittering or I'm rattling my teeth out in here, but I can just sense that there's a little bit of aftershock every time I go over a rough patch of pavement, just like that. The power from this Q7 is, in a word, adequate. I'm not really longing for more power. I don't need it to get up to highway speed or quickly overtake someone, but it could have a little more theatre to it, and that's exactly why Audi will happily sell you the SQ7, which is a vehicle that we'll hopefully cover on the channel in a couple weeks' time. that comes with the twin-turbo 4-litre V8 engine that shares a lot of its components with the newest RS cars like the RS6, RS7 and RS Q8. But that's not what standard Q7 buyers are looking for. They're looking for something that, again, is refined, laid back, and a vehicle that can drive for 600 kilometers at a time without any interruptions. Other aspects of driving, well, when you're sitting here in the driver's seat, you've got a dead straight piece of road ahead of you. Like I said, you feel like you can just go on forever. The seats are supremely comfortable, and this top trim model, they're massaged. Road noise and wind noise is as well refined as I think any internal combustion car can be. I've never driven something like a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, but I really can't see how they can be far off of what this Audi Q7 provides. The Q7 is undoubtedly a big car, but it doesn't feel intimidating. It doesn't feel unnecessarily large. Other elements of the Q7, let's move over to the cabin. With the 2020 updates, we have pretty much what you see out of the new A6, the new Q8, just thrown right into this vehicle. And if you're used to this Audi system, then it works no differently, but there might be a couple of software updates since the last time that I used it. As I can see, there's a few new animations when you interact with the climate control and some of the other sub menus. Wireless Apple CarPlay is available, and it's a good thing that, because I brought in my traditional USB Type A plug-in adapter, but this car doesn't have any. It's only USB-C, so if there wasn't wireless application of CarPlay, I'd be in a little bit of trouble. But it's something that pretty much all manufacturers are doing these days to try and future-proof their lineup in terms of connectivity, that is. For both of the screens, they have haptic feedback ability, but you can turn it off to be a regular touchscreen if you'd like, because I know some people don't like how they have to really push their finger into the menu to select it. They'd rather just tap it, and when you move into the Apple CarPlay screen, that's what it is. They don't use the haptic feedback system with that UI. So you can have a mixed experience of tapping and using haptic, or just have tapping altogether. Really, whatever you prefer, you can apply. There really isn't much storage space up front. You've got some big enough door cards to fit a large 1-litre sized water bottle, but where you rest your elbow under the center armrest, you have your wireless phone charger and maybe a space for your sunglasses. You actually don't even have a sunglass holder up here, which is a little bit annoying. So even though I wouldn't say practicality and storage space is a fault with the Q7 as a whole, it is a fault with the upfront of this particular model. Moving over to second row capability, as a 6'4" adult, I can happily sit behind myself, and there is actually a little bit of headroom remaining with the large sunroof in space. The middle seats all fold, recline, and slide forwards and backwards independently, and accessing the third row honestly is strictly reserved for children. If you want to only use 2 rows of your Q7, then just buy a Q8. Audi will happily sell you one of those. But if you have that 4th or 5th child, then that space is usable for them, but really no one else besides. It's great that entering the second row of both sides of the Q7, you have buttons to electrically fold and raise that third row seat. You can do that from the boot space as well. With that third row of seating down, you've got a very spacious, squared off space, so going for big shopping hauling trips is a great use of this vehicle. And if you need to do anything more than that, the second row of seats totally fold flat as well, so you could turn your Q7 into a bit of a van if it suits your fancy. We have the black optics package with this model I'm testing out, and it gives us a nearly murdered out look of this Q7. I love having the blacked out grille and the blacked out trim, but it's a little irritating to me that that silver cross member is still there on the boot lid, and it really doesn't need to be, apart from the badges being silver and in the case of this specific one, the gorgeous 21-inch rims. We're looking at a 95% murdered out vehicle. In summation, the Q7 is an absolutely fantastic vehicle. I really enjoy spending time with this because it's rare that you come across a vehicle that feels like it succeeds at its mission so clearly and so well. There's a couple things I don't like. The front row storage is close to useless. And of course, this is an expensive vehicle, but for the amount of money that you're spending, you're getting your money's worth. There's no doubt towards that. So the Q7 up against many of its competitors really does hold its own. It's not going to be the most dynamically engaging, and maybe to some it looks a little bit reserved on the exterior. But for me personally, those aren't complaints. So that's been everything I've had to say about the 2021 Audi Q7. Many thanks again have to go off to Glenmore Audi that lent out their demo model for me for a couple days so I could review it all. And thanks to you for checking out Hot Cars. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all of those other lovely things really help this channel out a lot. Thanks for watching.